So, Ragiroth do.
Ragiroth Enterprises.
How's it going, everybody? Rich from Ragiroth Enterprises here with part 2 of the video where we talk about our issue with modern fighting games. I'm here with Mark Yoon from Mark Yoon Art. Mark, say hi.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Guess what I just did? Undress all the boobies and the rest. Sorry. Hey guys, what's up? It's Mark Yoon.
Wow, I've never done that version of my intro in a video before. Yeah, this is actually my first time collaborating with Mark since I think I started my channel. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, when we were last left off, I'm pretty sure we were talking about
on Rich Ball Z.
We were talking about the main issues with online taking over fighting games, and we were about to talk about people's arguments to why online is better. So basically,
can our heroes overcome the villain of the patriarchy? Find out next time. All right, good. Sorry.
It's okay. Basically, well, one thing I wanted to mention, I think when we last left off, was people always say that, oh, well, you know, the games have to, you know, the developers should focus more on online and multiplayer and features like that. But they're fighting games. It's not like first-person shooters where there's a ton of different modes. It's like in Street Fighter, all you do is fight each other. You know, one-on-one. You know, Tekken, all you do is fight each other one-on-one unless it's tag. So that argument I don't really understand, and I'm pretty sure the people that work on the online modes are different than people that just, like, you know, design the characters and design the single player modes. Because network online related things seem more of like a programmer kind of thing. Am I right to say that, Mark? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's a technical aspect of the gaming genre. So like, you're definitely gonna have like programmers and like that are separated from like designers and stuff like that. So like when you're programming, you're dealing with like code and stuff like that and HTML, which a lot of like the art team that is actually behind the development isn't going to be a part of. So I agree with you. Like when we're doing like netcode and stuff, that's a whole different team.
Yeah. So, and I mean, okay, yeah, there's local play too, but again, usually there's not a huge variety of modes most of the time. You know, sometimes maybe they'll put in a tag mode or something, but the ironic thing is most of the competitive people that care so much about multiplayer, they usually just do one or two different versions anyway, like, you know, only one-on-one, or like maybe in some games that are based for team game, like only 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. So that argument just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really please everybody though.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes I can kind of see where they're coming from, but most of the time I think that like we really should just like focus on single player more.
Yeah.
Like, I know we talked about on my portion of the video that esports is like a big reason behind like why they do the things they do. But I really think that there's a good medium, like a happy medium, to where you can please both people.
I mean, I know, yeah, you can't please everyone, but I think you should at least, like, try. You shouldn't be like, well, you know, there's no pleasing that crowd, so we're not even going to bother putting in that many single-player stuff. No, you shouldn't do that. You should at least make some kind of effort to do it. Like, I would say...
Yeah, I totally agree.
I would say what fighting games should shoot for, in my opinion, I would say the ideal, I guess, minimum maybe, is arcade mode with character endings, some kind of cinematic or story mode, or something with, I guess, story cutscenes. You know, obviously, I know some games like Blaze Blue, you know, it's a little harder thing to do because it's all 2D animated, but something like that. And then, like, just some kind of other miscellaneous mode. Like, I guess, like, even though I know arcade mode is actually more of a part of this as opposed to being a separate thing, like how Injustice 2 has the multiverse mode, like something like that. You know what I mean? I think that's like the ideal thing, what to shoot for.
I mean, like, there's games that like do it really well. Like one of me and Rich's favorite games is Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, and it's technically Budokai 4. But the reason why we like Infinite World so much is there's a multitude of single-player content in that game. It's not just about like fighting other people. You can do massive like story mode in which you can actually like it's kind of open world, but not really. But they give you different like events and stuff to do, and there's also mini games and like just all kinds of stuff. I like to see that sort of thing because it keeps me not only engaged longer, but it also helps with the suspension of disbelief. So like, I know it's like weird to say, but when I have more content pertaining to the characters that are in the actual game, I feel more for them. I walk more in their shoes, and it makes me want to actually like be them more and, you know, like experience the rest of the story with them, which in turn, if they make a sequel, will make me want to play it more because I want to see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, if it's just online stuff, like why would I give a shit about like what goes on? Like I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna just like fight people. Who cares?
Exactly. And I also think like a lot of, you know, great memories of me of, you know, playing fighting games in the past is from single player content stuff. And yeah, okay, there are some multiplayer related memories. Like one of my probably favorite multiplayer fighting game memories I can remember, it's not even from that long ago, is a little after Tekken Tag 2 came out, and I had a few friends over and my younger cousin over. And you know, since Tag 2, you could do more than 2 players because of I guess each person could control a character. Like 4 of us could play at a time, and it was just a lot of fun, a lot of funny jokes and stuff. And, you know, I really had fun that day. And there's a bunch of other times too where I played with, you know, friends and stuff. But you know what's funny? I can't really remember that many great online multiplayer memories I had. Maybe like, you know, playing with, you know, you, Mark, or something. But I just
I mean, we did have a lot of good times in that same fashion in Injustice 1.
But even still, that's like that's still kind of local multiplayer in a way, just not at the same time, I guess.
Right, like we actually have the ability to play, but we lived in different states. No, actually, we didn't live in different states. At that time, we both lived in the same state. I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I mean, not just to shit on that, because we should also like talk about some good aspects of focusing online only. I mean, we can actually use the same devil's advocate arguments that we're making to the adverse effect. So, I think it also can extend the life of the game by you know, adding updates and future free stuff, and like making more people play it that like get paid to play it, so they're gonna obviously expect more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I should also say that, like, yeah, neither of us are saying they should get rid of online multiplayer and multiplayer altogether. No, neither of us are saying that. That would just kind of make it even worse, because then we wouldn't even get to play with each other. But, you know, if you like playing the fighting games for online or only with other people, you do that. You know, you do you. But we're just saying we're just saying that, you know, your opinion shouldn't be the only thing that matters, and we're you know, even in this case, we're not saying, you know, our opinion is the only thing that matters too.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of different aspects that you can cover from all grounds, but I think the biggest partition for the community is that, like, some people like to only fight online and other people like to only play single player. I mean, I think I have a healthy mix of both. There's like certain games that I play online.
Same here.
But there's also certain games that I don't want to play online at all. I mean, I play Destiny a lot. I'm playing Destiny 2 right now, and this is one of those games where I play online a lot. But there's also games, such as fighting games, 'cause that's what we're talking about, that I really have no interest in playing online, such as Street Fighter. I know that's a really weird one, but like I actually don't care about playing Street Fighter online at all. Injustice 2, I will play online. Also, like we were saying in the last video, like it's more of the technical games, like the Blaze Blues and stuff like that. I just don't have an interest in playing technical games online because I know I'm going to pretty much get my ass handed to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like in games like Injustice 2 and maybe like Tekken, I feel like I always fared a bit. Actually, Street Fighter 5 I did do a bit better than I thought, but I feel like those games in general, I do a bit better. Well, games like Blaze Blue, even though I love it so much more than Street Fighter, and I feel like I'm better at it, I get my friggin' ass kicked.
Yeah, I mean, like I play really well against my friends. Like me and you have really good matches in that game.
Yeah.
But when you go online, it's like, am I even like playing? You know, like,
yeah.
I feel like I'm just literally there to be a practice mode for somebody that like literally pours hours into the game. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, it will increase my skill level overall over time, but I also want to have fun. That's
Exactly.
to me the point of playing games. You know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be only about winning. But I was also gonna say, like, yeah, see, that's another thing with online. Like, if you get someone that's just clearly better than you, I mean, I know, like, yeah, losing is a part of life and games and getting better, but it's like, it's not fun to just that constantly just happen. And I feel like you also don't really get a chance to, like, use as much of the character's arsenal that you're playing as. And
oh no, you're right, because, like, for example, in Tekken 2, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
that's okay.
That just brought up a great point. Like, in Tekken 2, I'm really, really, really good with Lee Chaolan, right? Like, he's my best character in Tekken, and I know all of his moves and all of his combos pretty much for the most part. But online, I end up using, like, his cheap stuff because I'm afraid of losing. So, like, I end up, like, having the same experience over and over and over again, where I'll do that, like, forward kick that does a snap kick into the air, and then, like, pressing down and kick, which is that 3-point kick that he does. And you can loop that together back and forth. So it's like, I feel like I'm being cheap, and then I'm not getting as much out of it, but you know what? My online rank is going up, so that's what matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of stop caring about having fun and you just care about winning. And another thing I was going to mention was, I don't think I said this in the first part of the video, but with online, I feel like there's a lot of waiting and network and lag and a lot of other factors that kind of detract and, take away from the game that you don't have to worry about with single player. Like, single player, you jump in, you do it, instant gratification. Online, and like, there's just so many variables like network and all that, and it kind of takes away from it. And like I said in the first part of the video, once the servers go down, that game is basically a coaster if it only has online.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about that a lot in the last version of this video. Like, you can't, like, rely heavily on online only for the sole fact that if for whatever reason the servers do get shut down due to time or something like that, I can still play Soul Calibur 3 even though the servers are shut down. But
exactly,
games like Destiny, I won't have a chance of playing because literally it's online only. So if you don't have internet connection, or you don't have, like, there's no servers because the game is just too old, like, you're not gonna be able to play that game that you love, and then it's literally just like trash. And most of the time we want to just feel like these games are an investment, right? We want to feel like we're putting money in and we're getting something out.
Exactly.
So what do you think, Rich, we can do some things to have a happy medium and balance things out a bit more? Like, what do you think is a good alternative?
Well, I think you might have mentioned this in the first video. I think you did. That we should, because I think they rush. I don't want to say they rush them out because that is kind of a harsh term. But I think they should just take their time working on the games more. And we know that games take money and time to make. So I just think they should just take their time more and, focus on putting in, obviously, okay, yeah, more characters is nice, but just putting in more single player modes, I think. Because I think that's the problem. Like Street Fighter V, infamous example. They wanted to just rush it out, to so that it's eligible for the tournaments instead of, and the story mode had to be added later, and the arcade mode, which still isn't in the game, is going to be added later as well. So I think that's one thing, and I think just, adding in modes over time. Like, I know some games do it, like Street Fighter V, but I feel like the only games that do that is when they kind of know that they screwed up or they intentionally held off on it. I feel like most games that, like, maybe do an okay job of putting in single player content, they're like, yeah, okay, we're good. But, I think, just be like, no, just put in at least in one other mode or something. Like, let's take Tekken 7, for instance. I'm happy they brought bowling back, but a lot of us would like some kind of beat 'em up Tekken Force kind of mode.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I want to say that, like, a shining example of how to do a fighting game is probably Soul Calibur 3.
Yep.
That had so many good modes and so many, like, things to keep it going after you're done the game that it felt like you can never beat it. It felt like you can always keep going.
Oh, you know what? And this brings me into a another point I think that we didn't mention in the first video. A lot of games like Soul Calibur 3 and like Injustice 2 that like have a lot of good content and a good roster, people always use a lot of arguments against them, like, you know, oh, well, the gameplay wasn't good, and like these things like that, which I myself don't really notice. And again, maybe it's because I'm not a competitive person, but I just don't notice. I know Soul Calibur 3, a lot of people consider it unbalanced and it was too fast or something like that. But
I don't give a shit about balance, to be honest. Like, if I'm playing Dragon Ball, for example, like, everyone's like, oh, it needs to be balanced. I'm like, okay, well, if I have Omega Shenron versus Krillin, I better beat Krillin with Omega Shenron.
Well,
so,
I don't know, because if someone really likes Krillin, though, I mean, they shouldn't be able to, you know, be forced to lose, though, because of that.
Well, but we've talked about this before. I think the online portion should be balanced.
I guess
but
so.
As
like
far
maybe
as the
story
single-player
mode.
modes, right? Like, I don't ever want to see an instance where like Super Saiyan 4 Goku gets his ass beat by Chaozu. You know, it's just like it's something I just am not interested in seeing. A lot of games that are simulator-type games, people say, quote-unquote simulators, like Tenkaichi, for example, I rather enjoy because like it's more realistic towards the series. But in games like the Budokai series and even I'd go as far as to say Xenoverse, it's so balanced to the point where that like overpowered characters in the series feel underpowered.
Well,
you know what I mean? I
know Xenoverse is actually considered unbalanced as well. I know, because like some characters that are canonically strong, I don't know if I'm saying that right, are weak, and then some that aren't are. So yeah, I know that game's considered all over the place. I mean, I don't really notice. I'm just saying what I hear other people say.
The only thing with that game that I notice is that like the characters that charge have a much higher advantage than the ones that don't.
Yeah, which,
because,
you know.
Yeah, if you can't charge your key, you're screwed.
Yeah, it is a lot harder. You know, and speaking of Dragon Ball, because, you know, with like Injustice 2, like people I know bring up like, oh, the animations are stiff, it's an unbalanced game, it's all just about projectiles. You know, I personally don't notice those things, and even still, I think it still gets the job done. It still feels like a fighting game, it still plays well. I still just have fun with it, and it still functions well. But like,
well, how can it not be about projectiles? To be honest, when have you ever seen the Z Fighters beat any enemy with a punch?
Yeah. Well, I was talking about
I'm
talking about Injustice 2 in this instance, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh well, I mean, like, yeah, in Injustice, I understand what you're saying, what you're getting at too, but it's like, even in Injustice, like, there's like certain characters that perform certain functions. Which is why people love like games like Overwatch and stuff. Like you use the character for the mission, which kind of sucks when you're getting like teamed up online and you get a character that you're obviously going to be weak against, like a long range character versus like a short range strength character. And that character is going to move in for the kill. Like I know Doomsday and Bane had like charges, you know. But
yeah.
I mean, I think they find ways around it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, yeah, I know, like, you know, people are like, oh, gameplay is the only thing that matters, and like, yeah, I do agree, it is a thing that matters. Like, for instance, you know, there is one game, it's a Dragon Ball Z related game that me and Mark know very well, that it has a good roster, great content, and like even anime cutscenes, but the gameplay is not good at all. And the graphics are great. Ultimate Tenkaichi. That is one example. I will agree that, like, yeah, the gameplay is so bad that it, you know, unfortunately devalues the good stuff in the game.
I mean, if you want to sit around all day and like flip coins at each other, that's great. But to me, that's like even beyond mobile level. I mean, the only thing about that I say is, like, at least they, like, tried something new, but, like...
Oh, yeah, the creative character, yeah, it was the first game that did that, and I'll give it credit there.
No, I mean,
yeah.
even the flip thing, it was trying something new and different, but, like...
Oh, yeah.
They took the worst part of Budokai 3, which was Dragon Rush, and they multiplied it times, like, 50. It's like Dragon Rush if you felt like flipping coins all day. Like, I just don't understand why they did that.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and speaking of Overwatch, well... I know one of the games I'm probably most concerned about this with, I don't think I mentioned this in the first part of the video, is the new Dissidia coming out, which they haven't really talked much about single player modes. They mentioned that there is them, but I'm just kind of concerned at what degree there are. I'm just kind of worried it's only like some free play mode where you just fight against bots. And like, you know, like I know people are mentioning like there's a heavy emphasis on online and team-based and multiplayer, and like that's fine and dandy and all, but Dissidia started out as a game with like, you know, really good single player content, and apparently I am actually hearing that there might actually be a story mode now. It just may not be like as free and open world as you know, the other ones. I really don't know what the deal is. I'm hearing mixed things. But anyway, and I kind of blame Overwatch for the game if it does have bad single player content, because a lot of people compare it to that in terms of being like a MOBA or a team-based game. But here's my arguments of why it shouldn't be like, you shouldn't compare it to Overwatch. First of all, Overwatch was the first in its series. There was no real expectation of what the content would be. And hey, look, I like Overwatch, but I would like it a hell of a lot more if there was actual single player or something like that. And
yeah, I mean, it's not really like doing anything innovative though. There were plenty of games like Unreal Tournament, for example, that did that like way before that.
And I think that did actually have a single player mode too.
I actually think Unreal Tournament did as well.
Yeah, I had one of them. I remember there being a single player mode. And the other thing too is that's a first person shooter. Like, yeah, I mean, I feel like first person shooters have been so much more multiplayer focused for a much longer time than fighting games. And, you know, I feel like, you know, I still not excusing them. I really wish they did focus more on single player content. Maybe I'd like them more, hint hint. And it's still not quite the same circumstance. In a fighting game, especially one that had a lot of good single player content in the past, shouldn't just totally change that and kind of alienate a lot of the people that, you know, that were interested in the past. You know, a lot of the characters, you know, not a lot, pretty much all the characters in Dissidia are characters from primarily single player fighting games, and that if they're trying to attract those people, wouldn't they be kind of alienating them already because of wanting to play as the characters in a game that, you know, they're maybe not comfortable with, you know, multiplayer or something? I'm hoping I'm wording that right, but yeah.
No, I definitely understand what you're saying. I think like that's more of them playing to a base though. It's not like they're not trying to like cut people out of the experience, but they're just like looking at the numbers logistically pretty much and like saying that, okay, these people like put more money with like microtransactions and stuff like that into games, but you know, like how can we make more money pretty much? Like what's the better business model?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, you know, what can we actually do to please the fans?
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day, it is a business, and I can kind of understand that. I just wish that they would do both, you know? Like,
exactly.
I wish that they would, like, it's just like, it's not, there's no excuse to, like, there's no excuse to go from Soul Calibur 4 to Soul Calibur 5. There's no freaking excuse.
The scary thing is, I actually think Soul Calibur 5 still has decent single player content. It just, compared to what it's done in the past, is very lackluster.
Right. Well, I mean, we have to compare, and I agree with you. But like, I still play the game, but it seems like whenever I play it, all I'm doing is like doing that like battle mode where you're fighting against like the random cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their creative character is intense. Like, you've seen the characters I've created on that game.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna hate on that at all. But you know, it is like a little bit much to expect people to, you know, just like go along with your business plan when you're not trying to really offer them anything extra.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is, I think if a game is like only online, like Overwatch, it should not be $64. I'm sorry, it should not be. Like maybe like 40 at most.
That's all I'm saying. I would say maybe 40 at most. I don't think it should definitely not be 60.
Yeah.
Especially in places like where I live in New York with like extreme taxes that make it like 65 by the time you're done. More than that, actually. You know, it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't want to. I mean, we have a higher minimum wage too, but I don't want to shell out that kind of money.
Yeah.
And if I did shell out that kind of money, I definitely expect fucking single player mode.
I know.
Like, that's what I'm gonna play 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But all in all, guys, like, well, we're letting this run a little bit long, but like what we're saying is there's two sides to every story, and if you're the kind of person that like really enjoys online content and you don't want story content and think it's useless to see why people ask for that kind of stuff, just look at it from our point of view and just try and like see it from another perspective. That some people don't want to play online, or some people don't have the ability to play online.
Yeah.
Like maybe like they live in the, like my brother. Like my brother, I used to play with him online in games all the time, but now he lives in like in northern Pennsylvania in like a mountain area, and he literally, his internet is non-existent. Like he doesn't have internet. He has to actually connect his phone and tether a tablet to his PlayStation, which makes it almost impossible to play games together, especially when they're data heavy. So
yeah, not fun.
Just try to remember that like we love these games just as much as you do, and please in the comment section below let us know like if you do disagree with us and what's the reasoning behind that. Don't just say like, oh, you guys are gay and you're trolls. Like tell us like why you disagree with us. And we'll open a Discord and we'll be happy to like talk to you about it. I know we're not like these giant douches that just like want to like ruin gaming for everyone. We just want to see everybody happy.
Not. Yeah, that's it. You know, like I said, you know, you do you. If you like online, you like online. But you know, don't screw it over for everyone else that you know that may not be as crazy into that,
or may not even have the internet.
That too, exactly.
Alright guys, well thanks for joining us today on this video. It was really fun. Thanks for having me on your channel, Rich. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining.
No problem. And don't forget guys to check out part 1 on my channel if you haven't already.
Yeah, definitely check out Mark's part.
Yeah, you don't want to miss context into the conversof what we've done thus far.
Yeah, you'll be a little more confused if you do that.
And be sure to check out both of our channels and subscribe if you haven't already. And just wanted to also let you guys know that you know what you need to do. Just stay awesome.
And please stay powered up.
Alright guys. See you later.
Later.